This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It is a freaking Friday, so of course I've got the party lights on. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. Be sure to stick around until the end. We are going to watch a well get blown up. Yes, I have video of a well getting blown up. We're going to watch that at the end of the show. Plus, the other night we talked about who would make a good replacement for Alex Trebek on Jeopardy. A petition is going around, and I didn't even think about this guy, and he is wonderful. We're going to talk about that. Plus, a shocking conclusion by investigators in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Trump is an embarrassing loser. You guys all knew that. No one seems to know the name Cori Bush, but they will soon enough. Ilhan Omar has been their boogeyman in right-wing media. I guarantee you, Cori Bush is going to be the new woman they attack all the time. Samuel Alito wants to trample on my right to be able to call his ass a bigot. All that plus so much more. We're going to check in on the MAGA caravan descending on D.C., led by fucking Alex Jones. And so much more. But first, we are going to start it off like I've promised the last couple of shows. I've been doing some trolling on Parlor, and they do not like me over there. Now, I shared out the show just a few minutes ago. Hopefully some people will call in. Oh yeah, you weren't here last night. You don't know about the Million MAGA March on Washington going on. Led by Alex Jones. So let's take a look at some of the shit. First of all, Parlor sucks so bad. It is incredibly hard to operate. This dude just kept saying the Constitution. I asked him, how is it that you think Trump is going to win? He's like, the Constitution. I'm like, okay, well, what in the Constitution is it that you think will grant Trump the win? And he's just like, read the Constitution. I'm like, I don't think you've read the Constitution. And he keeps getting mad that I keep calling him moron and dumb fuck. Thanks, by the way. It seems that no matter how hard I try to convince you, if I tried, wouldn't convince you. I honestly do hope that we could, or will find some middle ground. For trying to get to his comment is going to be incredibly difficult because Parlor is not laid out well at all. Oh, there we go. We were able to find it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Ah, fuck. Now, this is what the show was originally meant to be. It was me trolling people live on the air. The reason this all started because I used to be able to see the numbers of people that followed me to news sites. And I had the analytics, and I came to the conclusion there were about 30 to 50 people that were following me around news sites and checking out my comments. And that's where I came up with the idea for the Troll Patrol. Now, it's had to morph into a Majority Report ripoff simply because I keep getting banned from Facebook. We'll see how long it takes me to get banned from Parlor. I haven't spent that much time on it yet. I'm assuming not long, but I'm not coming straight out and calling people dumb fucks. I'm using the same vernacular that I use on Facebook that usually keeps me out of Facebook jail. I know, keeps tramping my trolling abilities. Fuck the man. Donald J. Trump fan page, not the actual Trump, tweeted that Joe Biden is not and will never be president. Actually, not 12th, 21st. They are convinced that somehow Trump is still going to be president. I keep asking them, a lot of these people don't know how our court system works. They keep saying the Supreme Court. And just like the Trump legal team seems to think the Supreme Court can just step in and do anything they want, which is not true. You have to appeal a lower court ruling, lose that appeal, and then appeal to a federal court on the grounds that something was wrong with the judge's ruling in the lower court. These people don't understand that. Like, these cases are getting dismissed because Trump's legal team, and we'll go over this just in a little while, 5 fucking cases have been thrown out just in the last little bit. Because Trump's legal team has had to say, yeah, we have no evidence of fraud. Absolute fucking morons. Now, I keep getting downvoted. You could be right. Then again, Ted Kennedy murdered a woman and was elected to the Senate for the next 60 years. Left-wingers do some pretty stupid shit, too. I'm no fan of Ted Kennedy. Okay? You voted for a child rapist. I'm almost certain that's the comment he is responding to. I'm like, you voted for a child rapist. You must be the worst wannabe comedian on earth. Go back to delivering Jimmy John sandwiches, something you'd be good at. Not once in my life have I ever been a delivery driver. Not that there is anything wrong with the working class. I take their side. Why are you putting down Jimmy John's drivers? I wouldn't order from Jimmy John's, though. Jimmy John is a piece of shit. Get a lot of downvotes. I wear the downvotes with pride on Parlor. What a rude, pitiful person. But should be expected from a dim. Have you seen the person you voted for? Jesus fucking Christ. I don't think so, other than the fact that they are both pieces of absolute shit. I bet you did downvote my... The only child rapist I'm aware of is Joe Biden. I'm not going to say it said anything out cuck. God, these people are fucking stupid. Now, I still don't think I've been verified. I applied for my verification. Yeah, I don't have a badge yet. So I found out that I cannot comment back with links until I am verified. I have taken the steps. Wow, the amount of information they wanted about me here on this free speech site was insane. I had to take a picture of both my license, the front and the back. Take a live picture from my webcam. I had to send them all kinds of info, and then right after that, my antivirus informed me that I had tracking cookies on my computer. Fuck. Oh, we've got a phone call. Caller, you're on the Troll Patrol. What's going on?
Muffin, it's Sparkle's mama. How are you?
Oh my God, it's Sparkle's mom. What is going on, Sparkle's mom?
Not much. Just sitting around wondering how Much Trump's gonna destroy the country before he leaves office.
He's trying his ass off. Yeah, Sparkles told me that you'd been ranting about something. What had you been ranting about?
Well, I've been ranting about how Trump is going to take it out on the American people because he's pissed he didn't win the election.
He is an embarrassment of a loser, isn't he?
He really is. And, you know, you wouldn't believe how much of that role model and the president role model's behavior. I know when I was working in substance abuse and Clinton, you know, I don't know what I can say since it's a podcast, but I noticed that when Clinton and Monica Lewinsky got together and he said that wasn't sex, that about 40 to 50% of the teenage girls coming through had to be treated for an STD of the throat because they truly believe that wasn't sex.
The president does have a lot of sway, especially like I've been on Parlor trolling. Oh my God. These people are insane. They don't even know how our court systems work.
Right. They don't, and they really don't understand that, like, there's an executive branch and a judicial branch and a Congress. We've got 3 branches of government. It's not, you're not king when you're president. But
Speaking of which, your new senator,
You can
Tommy
pretend to be.
Tuberville.
But
Did you hear what he said today?
Trump lives inside a bubble, right? And I remember thinking when Michael Jackson died, Michael Jackson lived in that same bubble where you've got...
Rest in power,
you're so
Michael
rich
Jackson.
That you've got all these people that are just your yes man. So if you say, does this look good? Oh, yes, sir, that looks great. That's just fabulous. So any idea he gets, all these people validate it. And he really doesn't understand what's really going on. Just like Michael Jackson didn't understand.
I don't like your
he lived
analogy to
in that
Michael
bubble.
Jackson because Michael Jackson actually had talent. He actually had something to contribute to the
true.
world.
That's true. I just can't think of many redeeming qualities. You know, my dad is 80 years old, and he told me a long time ago, like 2 years ago when things were so bad, that he said, you know, Trump is the Antichrist. And I'm like, okay, blah, 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 whatever, Daddy. Well, now he calls me and he says, well, you know, when Trump said he had COVID and he went to the hospital and he come back out and looked great. He said that's because he died, that the Antichrist actually has to die and rise from the dead. And he said that's why they didn't let Fauci in and that team of doctors, because Trump is now risen from the dead and is the Antichrist.
Now, I will say, having seen the way that evangelical Christians have gotten behind him, I might have to start fucking dropping to my knees and believing in Jesus. Because it sure as shit did play out exactly like that story.
Well, you know, I would hate that there would be any truth in that he's the Antichrist.
Well, there isn't, but I mean, they describe the Antichrist as slick, a charismatic talker. Trump isn't really those things, but yet people act like he is.
But he is. He is what we describe as a megalomaniac.
Absolutely, okay. You are correct.
And who are the 2 most famous, or the ones that we remember this generation? Well, that would be Jim Jones, and drinking the Kool-Aid in Guyana, how they left the United States, and all those people followed him with their family going, please don't, this man is crazy. But all those people followed him, you know, and over 800 people drank the Kool-Aid and gave it to their children. And David Koresh, same thing, megalomaniac. And
now I've got a friend that would say that 800 followers can't be wrong.
Why are you following this person? Same way we do Trump. We're just blindly following.
Well, you're aware of the concept of cognitive dissonance, right?
Do what?
You're aware of the concept of cognitive dissonance, right?
Right.
So it's just people they want to be in their little bubbles, and they want to believe this nonsense. They desperately want to believe it. They've been programmed to think that, like, you and I are their enemies.
I really, the whole thing that, I just feel so disheartened by human beings as a whole, Americans anyway, because they would put a reality star in the White House, that they're so starstruck that they would literally vote for somebody that through the generations we have already identified as evil and corrupt in movies and television shows when we make reference to him.
This is what I'm talking about. All through the 80s and the 90s, he was portrayed as a con man and an idiot, right?
Right. And that if that many of my brother and sister Americans can be conned by this guy, it's scary.
It is an indictment on the stupidity of the American people and the failures of our educational system.
I know. I saw on the news this Canadian, like the Canadians, which I don't know. I love going to Canada and talking to them because they're so brilliant and they make so much sense. They're so practical. They're just a practical kind of people. But the Canadians were offering to pair an American with a Canadian as an emotional support person to get through all of this.
I saw that story. Now, I want to ask you, did you see what Tommy Tuberville, your new senator, had to say today?
Can you believe that? What did he say?
You were talking about the co-equal branches of government, and he got them wrong.
Well, of course, he wasn't even a good coach. But,
well, I know nothing about football. You know more about football than I do.
Vote. Any star's good. If you're on TV, you must be just grand and brilliant.
Well, isn't it a shame that we lost Doug Jones, who was a fantastic senator?
Really?
At least the best we could possibly hope for.
Understand. The longer you're in the Senate, the more clout you have, the better committees you get on. So the longer we keep somebody in office, the more it's going to help Alabamians. So if we elect somebody and then we elect somebody new and we elect somebody new, they're always the underdog in the Senate. And so we want to build on their seniority so that they get on the better committees and stuff to help our state. All we did was undermine ourselves by putting Tuberville in there.
Now, I want to ask you, they floated the idea of Doug Jones being the Attorney General. What do you think about that?
I think he would be a good guy. I think he would be a great guy to be an Attorney General, and it would certainly make Jeff Sessions look terrible.
Absolutely. Okay, one more question. Do you think you can convince Sparkles to come sit over here in my guest seat and be on the show with me?
I think you should. I think that's a fabulous idea.
I do too, but she has been very reluctant.
I will work on that for you.
Please do. I invite her over tonight. She said she's too tired.
She did. She told me, I asked her, I said, are you going to listen to the podcast? She said, I'm so tired. She said, I'm going to bed.
She does that to me a lot. Because Friday night used to be our movie nights, but now just stands me up.
She's getting old. She's wearing down.
We are all. I slept with the doors open the other night and it rained and I fucked my back up. It was horrible. Well, Sparkle's mom, thank you for calling in. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Sure. Bye, Muffin. Love ya.
Love you too. Fantastic call. All right, back over to Parlor. I really hope that Sparkles comes and sits. You guys have never seen the flip side, but there's a whole set over here, and there's a guest chair right there with a microphone, extra set of headphones. I've got the setup to be able to have people on the couch and everything, but I mean, I'm not going to have that many people over to my apartment here during the pandemic. Hopefully, after all this is over with, I really, really, really want to bring back the Friday Night Freak Show. But that would require having people here in my studio with me. How do you get in on what? You want to call in? You can hop on the Discord. You can call in. I have been meaning to have you on the show, Meteor Winch, but we've had a very busy couple of weeks. Producer Dave's been on. I actually have my, I've already got Dave set up on the guest panel right now. But yes, I totally Meteor Winch is going to be appearing on the Troll Patrol in the very near future. Look out for that. Check them out over on Echoplex Media, echoplexmedia.com. They do shows every night. I think the Intellectual Dollar Tree is already over. No, Conspiracy Bingo. Conspiracy Bingo is either still on right now or just ended. I always love that show. We were actually watching Awaken 2030, I think it was, and we got 5-6 minutes into it. I'm like, Conspiracy Bingo! We hit them all! Alright, so, earlier today, Trump held a press conference. Now, I thought it was going to be him announcing his re-election campaign for 2024. Turns out it was about the COVID. Amazingly enough, it's taken this long after the election for them to even speak on the subject of COVID, which is ravaging our country right now. You're in the voice chat right now? Oh shit, you are. Okay, now, I had some problems the other night. Let's see if it works. Hey, Meteor Winch, can you hear me? Looks like we're good to go. Meteor Winch, what's up? Ash, are you there? Ash, are you there? We heard her there for a second. What's going on? Talk to me, girl. Well, at least I know I got it fixed, and we can. We will hop back into the voice chat and talk to Meteor Winch here in a second, if we can. Sounded like you had your phone on in your pocket or some shit. I got butt dialed the other day. All right, so this is the press conference from earlier today.
Each and every state's specific plans for distributing the vaccine. Continue to urge governors.
Let's see what one half of the ambiguously gay duo has to say.
And ready for immediate implementation. And finally, Mr. President, as we see cases rising around the country, as we see hospitalizations rising around the country, I want to
exploding
encourage people with the news that as we have done from the very beginning, we're going to continue to move heaven and earth to make sure that your family has access to the level of health care that we'd want any one of our members of our family to have.
You heard it here first. Mike Pence endorsed single payer health care.
We're receiving requests from states for PPE, for personnel, but we're meeting all of those requests. And according to our team on the ground, we continue to believe that we'll be able to meet the requests for PPE and equipment, both from the Strategic National Stockpile, also from the commercial market, to make sure that those needs are all met. And the American people can also be confident.
I was going to carry this press conference live on the stream. I'm glad I didn't, because it seems like it was boring as shit.
And gloves and N95
but we got something fun that happens here at the end.
Basis, so we can continue to deliver, as you said, Mr. President, on that extraordinary record in America where no American who's ever required a ventilator has ever been denied a ventilator. No American who's ever required an ICU bed has ever been denied an ICU bed.
I think he's wrong on that one.
Through Operation Warp.
And it was Utah, Nevada, I can't remember which state it was, that's already starting to talk about rationing care. I do not think he's correct on that point.
Speed, Mr. President, his help is on the way. It's on the way right around the corner. As one of the members of our task force said recently, the cavalry is coming. But we want to encourage every American that we're going to...
Where you been for the last, 3, 4, 5 months while it's been raging out of control?
The equipment and supplies that they need. And we also, Mr. President, as we see cases rising, particularly in the heartland of this country, but in communities all across America, we encourage every American, as the Secretary did and as you have, continue to practice good hygiene.
Social distancing, wear a mask.
Practice social distancing, wear a mask when that's...
Oh, hey, I didn't think you would say it.
We all have a role to play. We all know what to do to protect the vulnerable, to look after our families and our neighbors.
Do we, though?
We encourage every American with all the good news this week, to continue to be persistent in putting the health of yourself, your family, your neighbors, co-workers, and friends first. And we'll get through this, and we'll get through this together. Thank you, Mr. President.
And thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
When will you address that you lost the election, sir? He's not going to. He won in his mind. There is no penetrating that bubble. And there's no penetrating that bubble in right-wing media either. Here is America's Voice. Hold on, let me see what the title of this video is. Hilarious.
I started use Kobero one.
Game over, Michigan. So this should be some pretty damning evidence. Oh, it's Rudy. Now remember, Rudy held a press conference where he invited a child molester as his star witness of voter fraud. Let's see what he's got to say this time.
So, Mr. Mayor, one of the things that a lot of our viewers
this
have
video's
asked
game
about
over,
is particularly
guys.
this Dominion voting software. This was the software that was used in Michigan and in
I can go ahead and tell you that is bullshit. The problem with the Dominion software was that the user interface hadn't been updated at the time. They didn't run their software update. That was the glitch in Michigan that he's referring to. And boy, are they beating that dead horse.
Antrim County, they had Joe Biden up by thousands of votes. They claimed there was a software glitch. It was discovered, it was fixed, and then it turned out that President Trump was actually up by thousands of votes. We know that you and your team have been investigating this. At the present time, do you have any whistleblowers?
How many child molesters do you think are on Rudy Giuliani's team? Rudy Giuliani's team investigating this.
Inside Dominion, who you're speaking with?
Well, I wouldn't call them whistleblowers. We have a person who's come forward
Did the
with an
anchor call them
affidavit inside
whistleblowers?
of Dominion.
Did I miss that?
That has said that Dominion observed the 100,000 phony ballots that were brought in at 4 o'clock in the morning on November 5th that were all Biden ballots.
What he's referring to was a wagon, a little red wagon that didn't have ballots in it. It was a camera crew, and that was their camera equipment. He's flat out lying. I mean, it's to be expected.
That appeared by every measure to be
More than
phony
none.
ballots since they were brought in the back door. They were not on the proper
Where were you?
container.
We could hear you on the
They were
chat, but you
sticking out
never
of the
talked
paper
to
bags
us.
and cardboard boxes. And they were told that these were ballots that were needed to catch up to Trump because Trump was too far ahead. When they were counted, they were all counted in favor of Biden. The woman who has given us an affidavit, who worked for Dominion, said that she saw not a single Trump vote. She was there for 4 or 5 hours. And it appered to her to be horribly corrupt. And when
Sounds
she
like
reported
hearsay
it,
of
nothing was
hearsay,
done about it.
which is
She
what
was
the
told
judge
it
said
wasn't
the other
any of
day.
their business. So that's
I think it was the judge in Michigan.
Not a whistleblower. That's
Sure.
a witness on the record in our lawsuit in Michigan, which is why I feel pretty good about the lawsuit. There's a
I think it's already been thrown out.
fraud. Do we have other witnesses for that are somewhat reluctant to come forward right now? Yes. We can probably corroborate
explain
that
it.
3 or 4 times. So I think they're finished on that. I think that's something that actually happened. They brought 100,000 votes in. They were all Biden votes. There was not even a vote for another Democrat.
That's weird because that's not what Trump's lawyers have said in court. Trump's law firm is actually stepping down because it's such an embarrassment. Republicans suffered setbacks to court challenges over the presidential election in 3 battleground states on Friday, while a law firm that came under fire for its work for President Trump's campaign withdrew from a major Pennsylvania case. Over and over again, they are having to admit in court, we have no evidence. We just had to throw this challenge out because it's placating Donald Trump supporters and helping us to raise money. It's a grift. Now, another one of the claims has been dead people voting. I think it was in Michigan where we did the story. It was the elder, the senior, that they accused of getting a ballot, but it was actually a junior that voted. They accused, like, oh, the senior was dead. No, it was just a junior guy, and the county clerk made an administrative error that they corrected. Here's another one. Trump said she's dead. She ain't dead. Matter of fact, this is a fantastic story. She voted for the first time for FDR. Trump claims she's dead. Let's listen.
11 Alive has confirmed that 2 of the 4 Georgia voters the president accused of fraudulently voting dead are very much alive. Our chief investigator, Brendan Keefe, tracked them down.
Mr. James Blaylock of Covington, Georgia, a World War II veteran, voted in the election, the president's campaign tweeted. The only problem? He passed away 14 years ago. Sadly, Mr. Blaylock is a victim of voter fraud. The claim was amplified on national television.
And no one quite embodies that story like James Blaylock of Covington, Georgia. Mr. Blaylock was a mailman for 33 years until he passed away in 2006. 14 years later,
listen to that music they put under it.
He was still mailing things. James Blaylock cast a ballot in last week's election.
False. James Blaylock did not vote in last week's election. Mrs. James Blaylock voted in last week's election.
He's not voted. He didn't vote.
It was you.
It was me.
Agnes Blaylock voted using her married name, Newton County confirmed. Her voter registration was signed as Mrs. James E. Blaylock Jr., and that's exactly how she signed her name when she voted in the November 3rd general election.
The President of the United States was accusing you of voter fraud, essentially.
Oh, I know it. And I knew it wasn't fraud.
Is there anything you'd
this
like
poor
to
woman.
About your husband? Because I'm sure he's dearly missed.
Best man I ever knew. Best one to me. I couldn't have had a better one.
In his case,
I want to give her a hug.
Really fraud, it was just commitment. Okay, but what about Linda Kessler of Nicholson, Georgia? Linda Kessler died in 2003. 17 years later, she was still voting in presidential elections.
That one is also false. Linda Kessler of Nicholson was marked deceased in 2003 and did not vote. Linda Kessler, who has a different address, birthday, and zip, who is entitled to vote, did vote, said Jackson County's Board of Elections. The Secretary of State is investigating the other 2 alleged dead Georgia voters, but half of those named by the Trump campaign voted legally.
Who did you vote for? You don't have to share that.
I voted for the Democrats, for Biden.
I see. And so,
I guess I voted against the other one, really.
Didn't we all, ma'am? Didn't we all?
11 Alive voter access team is still hard at.
Let's see if we can get Meteor Lynch in here. Ash, what's going on?
What's going on, Justin Freakin?
Oh, we have the Meteor Winch. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. I'm about to get the fuck out of here.
It's a freaking Friday.
It's a freaking Friday. But yeah, I'm fucking totally down to come on your show. That would be freaking fantastic.
That's one of the things I want to start having a lot more people on now that the election has settled down and we don't have so much news to talk about. As if that's going to happen between now and January 20th. There's going to be all kinds of shit.
Oh no, not at all. It's going to get ramped up to 13.
You are exactly right.
Like,
you really are on a forklift right now, aren't you?
I'm right. I work in a warehouse and I do supply line PCB materials, so I'm closing up all our gates and shit.
Yeah, I heard some kind of hydraulics in the background there.
That's the air compressor for all the cutting tools inside.
All right. So did you see the little old lady we just played?
I did.
What's your thoughts on that?
What are you talking about? The Rudy Giuliani clip?
The little old lady that Trump accused of being dead and voted for FDR in her first election.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, she was so sweet. But this is something that I have a big problem with, is that Trump is assaulting our vets. Trump is assaulting little old ladies.
Yeah.
I cannot believe what I keep hearing, and his supporters are unwavering in their bullshit.
I know, and it's just like I keep thinking, like, we have a bunch of our friends on fucking Facebook, right? Like Nathan the Creator in particular, and like both of our fucking post reach is on Facebook has been so curtailed by just by, I don't know, but it's their fault, right? It's all.
Well, that's what I sent a picture.
Their shit without also getting a dink.
I sent a screenshot to producer Dave. I'm like, hey, this is why I'm going to stay on Parlor for a little while. I made a post, had like 200 views within 10 minutes. I'm like, the algorithm isn't against me over there right now.
No, not yet. Just wait. But I also think that like 6 months after all this shit's over, it won't be so bad.
Now, have you been on Parlor yet? We were talking about it on the stream the other night.
No, I'm afraid of Parlor.
I will tell you, the first thing I noticed was that the user interface sucks ass.
Well, I mean, Dave couldn't even get it to work.
I saw he made a post about that. Like, is this stupid site even working today?
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. But listen, hey, I gotta jump here. But tomorrow, I'm gonna do an art stream on my channel, and I'm just gonna watch stupid videos and hang out. So come hang out with me.
Absolutely. Give it a plug so everybody knows where to find you.
The Meteor Winch on Twitch TV.
Hell yeah. I need to put your channel as a recommended channel.
Yeah, you do.
All right, Ash, we will talk to you later. Thanks for, I was going to say calling in, but you Discorded in.
Remoting in from the future.
Be careful out there. Don't work too hard now.
Whatever. No, not never. Ever, ever. Have a good night. Have a good show.
Oh, I cut her off. It is the Meteor Winch. Go check her out. One of my friends from over at Echoplex Media. Now, here's the big question. Will Trump attend the inauguration? What do you guys think? Here is what Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany had to say.
President Trump will definitely attend the inauguration.
Again, that's many steps away here. We're talking January, and President Trump believes he will be President Trump, have a second term, and litigation is the first step, many steps away from that. It would look pretty bad if he did not attend the inauguration. It would look like sour grapes, wouldn't it? I think the president will attend his own inauguration. He would have to be there, in fact. Are you prepared?
He would have to be there? Oh, his own inauguration. There's no ceremony when you're reelected, is there? You just keep serving. There's not another inauguration. You are already the president. These people don't even know how our fucking country runs. But, I mean, if I was Trump, I would be very, very scared of not being in office. Based upon the fact that he has been warned. Subpoenas and seizures await him after the presidency. According to a report from the Washington Post, Donald Trump is looking at a world of legal hurt after he steps down, willingly or not. I honestly believe he will not attend the inauguration, that he's going to get on a black helicopter and he will be in a different country. Because he is scared to death of this shit. And the House has signaled they aren't letting up on the investigations and they still want to see his tax returns. While New York Attorney General Letitia James has already gone on record and served notice that her department is looking into what she called an investigation against the Trump organization related to financial impropriety, and the investigation is ongoing. Now, I was talking to one of my conservative friends the other day, and I asked about why he wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. He's like, oh, she was corrupt. I'm like, so you voted for the much, much more corrupt motherfucker. Is corruption really what it's about? You voted for quite possibly the most corrupt person to ever walk the planet. And he's like, how do you say that? I'm like, how do you not? And I pointed out he's legally barred from running a charity anymore because he was stealing from it. That person came back with a debunked article from PolitiFact saying that no, Trump didn't steal from a children's charity. And I said, haha, that's funny. That's a different charity scandal. That wasn't even the charity scandal that I was talking about. So when trying to prove me wrong, you brought up another instance of where he was accused of stealing from a children's charity. Not to mention all the money laundering, the fraud. It is fucking bank fraud to inflate your assets to banks to obtain loans, but then report depreciated assets to the IRS. Now, when this came up of a month before the election, a lot of people said, well, he's just smart. And I'm like, no, that's fucking fraud. You want to talk about fraud? There is no election fraud, but there is plenty of fraud going on with Trump. And like, I didn't get the chance to put it on the docket for tonight, but Ken Paxton, the Texas AG that we've talked about a couple of times on the show this week, is being sued for his fraud after he put forward his case that a woman was committing voter fraud. He is now being sued. Well, we mentioned the MAGA caravan earlier that has descended on DC. So let's check in with them and see how they're doing.
The media wants you to think that you are a microscope. Don't believe it.
They want you to think you're a what?
The media wants you to think that you are a microscope. Don't believe.
The media wants you to think you are a microscope? Is that what he said? I can't.
The media wants you to think that you are a microscope. Don't believe it. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal.
Yes, I agree with him. Stop Trump from trying to steal the election. Stop Trump from stealing from the American people. Uh-oh, Alex Jones's armed Humvee. But that's not Alex Jones. Who was that? Oh, they're talking about Dominion again.
And in fact, he doesn't even have enough electoral votes to claim that he was ever the president-elect.
And that's another thing. Let's go over that. There's a lot of rumors going around about how there is no office of the president-elect, and Joe Biden just invented that out of thin air. But I would like to prove that wrong. Uh-oh, wrong one. I would like to prove that wrong right now. Joe Biden did not invent the office of the president-elect. Here is Donald Trump standing in front of a podium that says, the office of the president-elect. It predates Trump, too. Guys. These people are absolute fucking morons. I cannot stress that enough.
But we're about to overturn Michigan.
And by the way, he does have enough votes. 306 electoral votes is the final count as of today.
About to overturn Wisconsin. We're about to overturn Pennsylvania. And you're going to find out real quick, the only reasons they're still counting in Georgia and Arizona and Nevada is because Trump's still in the lead. So that's how you know that they're
they're doing a hand recount.
Because the Democrats do nothing but cheat.
These fucks have no clue what they're talking about. They're singing Star Spangled Banner. Now, this is what they call a boogaloo boy. You can tell by the Hawaiian shirt. If you don't know what that means, what's the movie? The Electric Boogaloo 2, whatever the fuck it's called? That's what they're talking about. The Civil War 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's where this term comes from. They all wear Hawaiian shirts.
Fuck Trump!
Yeah, tell him. Man, what balls on that guy. Surrounded by all these motherfuckers with guns and shit. Oh, I love this guy.
Fuck Trump! Yeah, you bitches!
Gigantic balls. Alex Jones's armored Humvee. Where is Jones at? Yeah, the Civil War II Electric Boogaloo. That's where the term Boogaloo Boys comes from. See how he's wearing the lei? You'll see a lot of Hawaiian shirts and shit in there. There's a couple. Another dude with a lei there. Those are the shitty leis, by the way. I've been to Hawaii. You get like a really nice.
I started use Kubiro 1 year.
Ooh. But I mean, it's not like we're dealing with the smartest people, right? Here's a billboard from Putnam County, Tennessee. Zoom in here, can we? Let me save the picture so we can see it real nice. This billboard from Putnam County, Tennessee. They wrote pedophile multiple times on here, but the thing that I thought was hilarious is that they misspelled liar. Twice! Somehow they got pedophile right, though. All right, earlier today, Supreme Court, or maybe it was yesterday, I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to check it out. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito addressed the Federalist Society. And he had a hella hot take. So let's see what Justice Alito has to say.
You can't say that marriage is a union between one man and one woman. Until very recently, that's what the vast majority of Americans thought. Now it's considered bigotry. That this would happen.
It is bigotry, you stupid motherfucker.
And after our decision in Obergefell should not have come as a surprise. Yes, the opinion of the court included words meant to calm the fears of those who cling to traditional views on marriage. But I could see, and so did the other justices in dissent, where the decision would lead. I wrote the following. I assume that those who cling to old beliefs will be able to whisper their thoughts in the recesses of their homes. But if they repeat those views in public, they will risk being labeled as bigots and treated as such by governments, employers, and schools. That is just what is coming to pass. One of the great challenges for the Supreme Court going forward will be to protect freedom of speech. Although that freedom is falling out of favor in some circles, we need to do whatever we can to prevent it from becoming a second-tier constitutional right.
Listen to what he just said. He wants to trample on my right to call his ass a bigot. Make no mistake about it. First of all, marriage is a legal contract recognized by the government. Religion has nothing to do with it. Let's revisit the First Amendment you just mentioned. And let's notice that the government can't make laws based on religion. It is strictly a civil act. It's about property rights. It's about legal contracts. It's about being able to have joint bank accounts. Be able to visit your partner in the hospital. Now, to deny that to citizens based on this arcane notion of traditional marriage having to do with your religious beliefs is unconstitutional. And then you're saying that it's not right for me to be able to call you a bigot because you believe that. And this is why the Federalist Society is so dangerous. And they have picked every single justice that the Republicans have named in the last 20 years. Every single one of them have to meet the Federalist Society's litmus test. They do act like they own the concept of marriage. It is not a religious institution. Much like a corporation, it is a legal designation by the government, and your religion plays no part in that. But I'm more pissed off at the fact that he thinks I can't call him a bigot because of it. I hate to tell you, Samuel Alito, you are indeed a bigot. And I'm a proud American that would happily say that to your fucking face. These people are shameless. And Amy Coney Barrett is another one. Now, his entire speech to the Federalist Society, judges are supposed to be impartial. Especially, he's supposed to be a textualist, an originalist. That he's not supposed to put words that aren't there into his legal rulings. Yet, it really appears that he's playing politics. He is just another partisan hack playing for the GOP. After this speech, we need to impeach some justices. And we need to expose the fraud that is the Judicial Crisis Network, the Federalist Society. It's being a bigot. It's being discriminatory, and it's being a fucking bigot. Speaking of bigots, here's a blast from the past. Karl Rove.
Conservative, or people who are naturally conservative say, is there a place in your party for somebody who looks and thinks like me? And suddenly they say, wait a minute, there is. So that is a big, important benefit to us.
And Cori Bush, I think he's from St. Louis, but I mean, your sentiment.
No, different. This is Cori Bush, who's a woman. She's from, I believe that she's from Baltimore.
Oh, I didn't know there were two. Okay, thank you, Karl Rove. All right, according to
there are not two Cori Bushes. There is one Cori Bush, and she is from St. Louis. She was one of the organizers of the Black Lives Matter movement after Ferguson. Bigoted Karl Rove is confusing two black women. Just as soon as I heard him say it, I knew exactly who he was talking about. He was talking about Kim Klacik from Baltimore.
With Kajabi, it's easy to...
Because, you know, all black women are the same exact thing. They all look alike, right?
Do you care about Black lives? I do. And
this is who he was thinking about.
Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this.
That's all we're going to want. Yeah, let's... For fancy graphics there. They poured a lot of money into her campaign for her to suffer an astonishing loss. And, according to this editorial, she sets a new standard for election denial. Ms. Klacik did not merely lose for the second time in 7 months. Her bid to capture the 7th district seat once held by the late Elijah Cummings, she was defeated in something akin to an electoral tsunami. She fared only slightly better than Republican candidates have in this democratically gerrymandered district in elections past. But Ms. Klacik decided to go full Trump and post on social. I don't like the way he framed that democratically gerrymandered district. Because what happens in gerrymandering is yes, it ended up with one district being heavily Democrat because they've carved out the other districts to where this one will be totally Democrat and then the others, they won't be competitive for Republicans. Gerrymandering needs to end. But she has jumped on this stop the steal bullshit. I beat my opponent on day of and in-person voting along with absentee. However, 97K mail-in ballots were found in his favor. No, they sued to make sure couldn't count the ballots before Election Day. I'm actually not sure about Maryland. That was in Pennsylvania. But I'm guessing that's what happened. Now, speaking of Cori Bush, let's find out who Cori Bush actually is. Because she's a badass, and you should know her name. Today was the congressional orientation for new incoming lawmakers. And she wore a mask that said Breonna Taylor. And apparently led some GOP colleagues mistakenly believing that her name is Breonna. First of all, how do these people not know who Breonna Taylor is? Have they not watched the news in the last 6 months? That is an indictment of the representatives we have in D.C. It's day one, so I'm wearing my Breonna Taylor mask. Few of my Republican colleagues have called me Breonna, assuming that's my name. It hurts, but I'm glad they'll come to know her name and story because of my presence here. I should have grabbed a video of her. She is a badass. You want to hear her speak. And I'm going to promise you, you're going to hear a lot from her from right-wing media. This is going to be their new boogeyman. This is their new Ilhan Omar that they will attack relentlessly. And it's a bit like AOC. They did it to her as well. The polling shows that Democrats, in terms of name value, don't really know who AOC is, whereas most of the electorate of Republicans do know who AOC is because they can't keep her name out of their mouths on Fox News and Newsmax and OAN. I've argued, thank you, right-wing media. You have made AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ariana Presley, Rashida Tlaib far more powerful than they ever would be. Please keep it up. Please come after Cori Bush. Because really, they are making them a bigger deal than what they would have been. Now, on the flip side, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Our first session of new member orientation covered COVID in Congress. Now, this is an issue because Republicans were testing positive and not telling their Democratic colleagues, and still coming to work like the assholes they are. Mask, mask, mask. I proudly told my freshman class that masks are oppressive. In Georgia, we work out, shop, go to restaurants, go to work, and school without masks. We looked at the chart yesterday, and that's one of the reasons why COVID infections are running rampant in Georgia, because you aren't doing just the bare fucking minimum to protect your fellow citizens. Free your face. Now, it did note that she complied with the rules and wore an American flag emblazoned mask. Now, I wanted to be able to play some video of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a QAnon supporter. She believes that her Democratic colleagues are all part of a satanic pedophile ring. So let's hear what she had to say back in August.
They signed it, they swore in on the Koran. Oh, we have the Bible. We're going to talk about swearing in on the oath, how to swear in on the Bible with them and let them know what our law says, that you can't swear in on the Koran. So we're going to explain that. You know, we're going to explain about how you can't.
Oh my God! Now, fucking the first member of Congress, was it Keith Ellison? I believe was the first Muslim member of Congress back in 2006. I might be fucking this up. The Republicans made a really big deal about him being sworn in on the Quran. He went to the Library of Congress and got Thomas Jefferson's Quran. It was sworn in on it. Now that's a brilliant fucking move.
Swear in on the Quran, and we're going to have the Bible and ask them if they would swear in on the Bible. That we really need them. We have the oath. Yeah, we have the oath. Yep. So I think that's important.
The sad thing is now you're infringing on our religion. Which you should not. You're infringing on our religion.
Yes.
By saying that we can't swear in on the Quran.
But when they swore in, it wasn't a law yet, right? At the time they swore in.
I don't know.
I think at the time they swore in, that wasn't passed.
Yeah.
It's a law? Is it a law in Georgia?
Right. Yeah, so it was.
Fucking somebody challenged that law then.
So they're not really official, I don't think. So let's go ask them to swear in the Bible, because, like you said, Will,
It has to be the Holy Bible.
Yeah, it has to be the Bible.
Well,
the Constitution says no religious litmus tests. You stupid bitch.
Bottom line is Sharia law is not compatible with America.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
How can you say you represent women, but you support Sharia law?
But you support Sharia law. What? So that's the kind of batshit we have to look forward to over the next couple of years before hopefully she gets booted from Congress. But her attitude about COVID is exactly the reason why shit like this Shit. Well, I fucked that one up. 130 Secret Service members are having to be quarantined right now because of, the White House super spreader event. They've had to be around Trump through his fucking COVID ordeal. 130 Secret Service agents. Putting them in danger. Now, to no one's surprise, the very first cruise ship to go back into business since March has had 5 passengers test positive for COVID-19. Who would have thunk it? That amused the hell out of me. But now, apparently Elon Musk has taken 4 rapid COVID-19 tests and gotten 2 different results. 2 of them were positive, 2 of them were negative. Now, Elon's really smart, so I assume he knows why that might be. Right? Because I've got friends that keep telling me how fucking smart Elon Musk is. He's certainly not going to say something really stupid in this, right? Thursday night said he took 4 rapid coronavirus tests with 2 negative results and as many positive readings. Something is extremely bogus going on. 2 tests came back negative, 2 tests came back positive, same machine, same test, same nurse. Rapid antigen test. Said he's experiencing symptoms of a typical cold and nothing unusual so far. The medical company in September said it was probing reports that its rapid COVID-19 tests were producing false positive results in U.S. nursing homes. It's a rapid test. It's like one of those fucking swabs. They're not 100% accurate. Apparently, they're about 50% accurate. But Big Brain Musk wasn't aware of this, I guess. He is one of the dumbest fucks walking the planet. I am seriously tired of people telling me how smart this fucking idiot is. And never forget that his family made money in apartheid South Africa from emerald mines. And if it wasn't for the U.S. government, SpaceX would have already been bankrupt. I fuck the Obama administration for that. I'm still having to deal with that asshole years later. Alright, so I've been wanting to talk about this for the last couple of days. Or maybe this was yesterday. Published yesterday, okay. DOJ investigation into Epstein deal ends without recommended action. The Department of Justice found that federal prosecutors overseeing the controversial non-prosecution deal with Jeffrey Epstein in 2008. Now, I want to go back long before the whole Epstein didn't kill himself thing. If you were my friend on Facebook back in 2010, 2011, 2012, around that time period, you know for a fact that I said the name Jeffrey Epstein over and over and over again. That when Trump was running in 2016, I said the name Jeffrey Epstein over and over and over again. Because I was aware of all of this before it became like a really mainstream story. That I couldn't believe this motherfucker got off on the deal that he had. Like, he had to report to jail for a month, I think it was, but he only spent the weekends in jail. He was on work release the rest of the time. I don't even think it was jail. I think it was house arrest or some shit. Hold on, we should get into it here. Did not engage, this is talking about the prosecutors in that case in 2008, did not engage in professional misconduct, but used poor judgment. In trying to reach such an agreement and failing to assure victims were notified of a plea hearing. Now this has Alex Acosta, who was the labor secretary under Trump, was the prosecutor in the case. I wonder how he got that job as labor secretary after he gave Jeffrey Epstein the sweetheart fucking deal. Epstein should have been in prison the rest of his fucking life after that. I've said it all along. Every time I see somebody say Epstein didn't kill himself, I said, okay, well, who had the power to make him kill himself then, or make it look like he killed himself? Trump is the one that oversees the DOJ. I mean, it's not like Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were big buddies, right? I'm not getting ready to play a video of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together acting like really good pals now, am I?
An invitation into Donald Trump's world. Footage from 1992 found in the NBC archive.
That was a little bit better than the other dance.
I'll give him an invitation into Donald Trump's world.
He's actually moving his feet there.
Found in the NBC archives shows the future president welcoming Jeffrey Epstein to his Mar-a-Lago estate. The get-together more than a decade before Epstein pleaded guilty to prostitution charges in Florida. Both men are seen enjoying themselves, Trump pointing out women dancing in front of them. An apparently friendly encounter with a man the president is now looking to distance himself from.
Well, I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan.
Epstein, who has pleaded not guilty to federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges in New York, is fighting to be released from jail while he waits for his trial. His lawyers now offering...
Well, he got released from jail.
...the most mysterious item uncovered in a search of Epstein's Manhattan mansion. An expired foreign passport revealed by prosecutors as they tried to convince a judge that Epstein is a serious flight risk. The passport appearing to show Epstein's photo, but under a different name. His residence listed as Saudi Arabia. Epstein's attorneys describing him as an affluent member of the Jewish faith now say he acquired the document from Austria in the 1980s for personal protection while traveling in the Middle East, adding it was only to be presented to potential kidnappers, hijackers, or terrorists should violent episodes occur. The explanation coming as one of Epstein's accusers called on other alleged victims to tell their stories.
If you have already made the decision to come forward, thank you. If you have not, the time is now.
Courtney Wild first told authorities Epstein sexually abused her more than a decade ago and says she was kept in the dark about the secret deal he cut with federal prosecutors in Florida in 2007.
That's what the story we were talking about earlier
By the
is
same
referring
government
to.
that was supposed to protect me.
Law enforcement officials across the country now working together as more women speak up, saying they too were victimized by Epstein.
But now what that story left out was he had multiple contacts for Donald Trump in his little black book. Also left out the quote by Trump where he said he and Jeff Epstein both like young women. You can't make this shit up. Now, I tried really hard to convince my conservative friend that Trump is indeed a child rapist. No matter what I showed him, Trump walking in on young girls at that pageant he owned, Trump talking about like how he'd be dating a 10-year-old in 10 years. All the creepy shit. It might have been a 12-year-old. I might be off on that. He made a comment about a young underage girl. He's like, I'll be dating her in 10 years. Fucking weird. All the shit that he said about his daughter. As producer Dave has pointed out many times, that man definitely wants to fuck his daughter. There is no question about it. Actually, I said something to a conservative friend the other day. God, he made the comment. It was about Kamala Harris. About how she got her position by Willie Brown in California. And I was like, okay, did Trump give Ivanka a position because he wanted to fuck her? And he's like, huh, dude, that's his daughter. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm well aware. That fucking weird ass family. How about some wholesome content now? The other night we had the discussion about who would be Alex Trebek's replacement on Jeopardy. We threw out some names. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I said Neil Patrick Harris. The dude that played Sheldon on Big Bang Theory. Somebody else had a really good one I didn't think of. But then this petition has been going around, and I'm all for it. LeVar Burton to take over as Alex Trebek's replacement on Jeopardy. I'm here for it. Love it. He would be a fantastic replacement for Alex Trebek. So I'm glad that people thought of that and have sent the petition around. Unfortunately, if I was a producer of the show, I'd kind of want to go younger. But man, LeVar Burton would be an excellent replacement. All right, the big story, the big thing I've been excited about to talk about on the show, to watch. I've not watched it yet. I had somebody send this video to me. November 11th was the 50th anniversary. I guess it's the state of Oregon. That's probably the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Blew up a whale on live TV. The 50th anniversary. Let's check it out.
Scavengers. Indeed, the seagulls had been standing nearby all day. As everything was being made ready,
I bet they had.
Thornton, the highway engineer in charge of the project, for his final observation.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing so the scavengers, seagulls, and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Is there any chance it might be more than a one-day job?
If there's any large chunks left, and we may...
Like, don't you really only get one shot at that? Are you going to come back and do a blast? I mean, my dad was a blaster. And he had, like, formulas for figuring out how much powder to put in a hole and shit. Chumfetti! Ah! That's great. That was very witty. You've had a couple of witty comments this week, Pumpkin.
Have to do some other cleanup, possibly.
Now, I kind of thought they were going to, like, stick it down his mouth or something, but that's do it on the other side. Makes perfect sense.
Tired of its smell, were moved back a quarter of a mile
I bet.
away. Pieces of meat fly over our...
What? They already weren't farting out. Fucking zoom lenses were incredibly expensive back then. So, I mean, I could understand a local news station not having a long zoom lens. God, you weren't already far enough away from it? You had to run to not get hit by it? Did you guys play it on one of your shows last night?
Our heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped.
Wait, when I was on, I think it was Intellectual Dollar Tree. It might have been Operation Catterday the other day. Producer Dave played the video of Dan Bidondi going up to a beach whale. And he touches it. Everybody in the chat was like, no, don't touch it, don't touch it. And then he keeps looking at his hand. Oh, I need to get up with Dan Bidondi. We want to have him on the show here soon.
Both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site.
Holy shit!
One large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale. As for the success of the effort, well, the seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion
by the
or
blast,
away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle what to do.
Oh, wow. That was great. That was a fun way to end the show. All right, guys. Go ahead. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin FREAKIN. We will see you Monday night on the Troll Patrol.